Mark Weller is up next. Mark Weller is, when I see his work, it's like, what? He does some pretty astounding photo stacking images, which takes photography to a different level. And I met Mark when he was by the Marzen Gallery in a bar as I walked in to go have a beer while I was waiting for a meeting, and I happened to be on the Isthmus cover there, and he was reading the article. And I walked by, and I said, wow, he's reading the article on me. So I didn't know him. I went up and said, hey, how do you like that article? He said, yeah, that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Weller.
You have no right to have a memory that's that good. Let's start with stars. In the mid-1990s, I got serious about taking astrophotography. And all of us have looked at the night sky every now and then and just kind of marveled at the beauty of it. But I got to thinking the dichotomy of looking at stars. All of us can go out, we can all agree it's a clear night, see the bright star, we'll all point at it. But what is unique about it is the vast amount of time it takes for that starlight to hit our eyes, when in fact it may be 100, 1,000, maybe even 1,000,000 light years away. It is so far that the original star may not even be in existence anymore. And yet we're all sitting here in agreement that, yes, that's the bright star. That dichotomy fascinates me. It simply fascinates me. Most photography is three-dimensional. In other words, I'll take a picture of this audience, click. You have width, you have depth, you have height. And what my photography does is dances and explores and exploits the fourth dimension, time. I call this process time stackings. I take multiple images, sometimes 100 images, and the exposures are separated by some unit of time, a second or 10 seconds or a minute, and in some cases an hour. And I compress those, I intermingle them, I create a single frame out of the multiple images taken over a period of time. And the results of accentuating time comes into a final result of being a very painterly-like creation. My first targets were clouds. So who among us as a kid didn't lay on the grass on a beautiful summer day looking up at these big white puffy clouds that are just slowly, slowly, slowly moving across the sky? This process accentuates what happens over time. It captures movement. It plays with movement. It accentuates movement. It allows color to saturate into the image that is far beyond what the human eye can pick up in an instant. But if you linger with the time and stack these images, you see things that are there, but generally not available to the human eye until you do go through this process. And I don't have a sexy name for this genre other than clouds. And I guess that it works, you know. This gave way to another genre of time stacking, Impressionism. Who amongst us hasn't been influenced by the great work of Claude Monet? And last summer I had the opportunity to go to the Monet home. The French government now has that as a cultural artistic center. But the pond that Monet created in the late 1800s is still there. Some of the trees that he planted, like the weeping willow that you see hanging down from the top of the frame, that was planted by Claude Monet. And the government still maintains the water lily garden. And it's just led me down a whole second genre of Impressionism with time stacking. This is a waterfall up in the Chequamegon National Forest, Upper Springbrook Falls. This is a beach scene on the Atlantic Ocean off of Virginia Beach. My third and final genre is abstract. I mix time, I mix multiple exposures, and camera movement. So I put in another element, camera movement, to create shape, to create texture, to create color. This is from the farmer's market downtown. There's a Hmong family, several Hmong families that sell fresh flowers that are just a bouquet of color in and of themselves in their booth. This is falling water. So to what purpose? These are pretty pictures, but is there a message? Yes, there is. My art challenges your sensibility of time and your sensibility of truth. This piece is called In Peril. It's from July of this year. I was in Iceland. This is one of what is becoming more rare glaciers on the planet. This is a bit of a political statement in that there's no people in that image. And I hearken back to the famous speech that our own Gaylord Nelson gave on the very first Earth Day, when he said, "Do not ask for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. For there are species on this planet that have a survivability quotient that far exceeds that of the Homo sapien." This is a glacier that's dying. This is a glacier that is rotting because of the climate situation on the planet. So I want to challenge your assessment and your understanding of reality. This is down at the Corkscrew Swamp in Florida. It's old-growth cypress. At one point, Florida was covered with cypress trees. This is the only remaining stand left. I want to infuse my images with time. I am utterly fascinated by that concept. How we see things fundamentally influences our perception of our surroundings, our attitude, our understanding of who we are, and ultimately, how we fit into the cosmos.